the purple would be both. Even when you see like the representation of, just let's look at our two-party system here in America. You have the Republicans are red and the Democrats are blue. And that's the duality. There's red and blue equals duality, and purple is like a unitary concept. Exactly right. And think about it.
Yep.
Purple is the color of majesty. Purple is the color of regency, of kings and queens, because that's a
Yes.
unitary conception. They are a monarchy.
Exactly.
They are one ruler, a unitary ruler represented by purple. But when you have the dichotomy, when you have that split, then you have the blue and the red.
Yeah, exactly. And it's depicted through flags. I mean, the French flag is red, white, and blue. The American flag is red, white, and blue. In Canada, it's very special because the Canadian flag is red, but the Quebec flag is blue.
As we look at this world that we live in, this history that's presented to us may have just been made up, really. It might all have been just fabricated and presented to us or in some other way. And,
It's kind of funny, but I kind of agree with you.
so is it possible that they presented a history to us that was just really an encoded cipher, so to speak, of our physical reality, for us to unlock it, and what else is a bigger archetype of this physical reality than our body, you know? Um,
Exactly, because we are supposed to be like God made us in His in His likeness, right? Is that the phrase? So if that's
well, I
true,
agree with that. Yeah, yeah.
that but He embedded the Christ in directly into our brain, like it was a blueprint.
When you look at the energy field of the human body, you see it represented in the overarching potential energy field of this whole world. It seems to be toroidal. The heart would be the inertial plane of the toroidal body field of your body. Okay. Just as the heart would be the inertial plane of your body's toroidal field, this earth is very likely the inertial plane of the world's toroidal field, right? Or the universe's. So
Okay, yeah,
there's a lot of syncs there that our bodies, getting back to what you're saying, may simply be representations of this entire reality. You know,
exactly, and that's what I think the Bible is, because I was trying to explain before. Is like I think it's alive or something because when you're looking through it, it jumps out at you like when you're not even looking for something, the whatever it is that you need to see, it jumps out at you. This here is the brain. Okay, this is the cerebellum right here,
yep.
and this is like the brain and everything. Well, right here, my friend, is the story of the tortoise and the hare. If you look at it very closely, you'll see at the part where the frontal lobe is, you'll have the rabbit with its rabbit ears right here. You'll have the head of the tortoise here with its shell right over here, and you have the rabbit lying down on the ground sleeping while the tortoise passes him by, and he's there sleeping underneath the tree.
You know what that reminds me of? Oftentimes in school, you'll use mnemonic devices, right, to remember things. And interesting, what if that was a mnemonic device used by some, ancient physician to, label the different parts of the brain? That's pretty cool, or like when you learn how to tie your shoes, you remember these stories, where um, you put the loop around and the rabbit goes in the hole. Do you ever have
Yes,
those kind of stories, OTW? You know what
yes,
I'm
yes.
saying?
I do,
Yeah.
man. I know exactly what you're talking about because that is so like freaking right. Because just like that song there, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Do you get the esoteric meaning of that song? The stream is that the sacred secretion that travels through your spinal cord and it travels all the way down. The stream is the Jacob's ladder where the angels go up and down that ladder. It's the same thing. It's the same stream, and life is but a dream. So that means that we are living in a dream. Allegorically speaking, obviously.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I can't, I can't disagree with that take.
Okay, and if I bring up
Dream,
the flow,
illusion, non-physical, definitely.
all right, you want me to blow your mind? How about you go to Alice in Wonderland and follow the white rabbit down the rabbit hole? Why do we always say that expression? Let's go down the rabbit hole. Well, there it is. This is the rabbit hole. You got to go down that rabbit hole into the brain where the pineal gland is and activate that baby and get your spiritual awareness credit card going.
So the implication would be the rabbit hole leading to the seat of the pineal gland, basically.
Exactly. Or
Um,
going down or going down into the tomb, because the tomb, like Jesus Christ when he goes into the tomb for 3 days and then he resurrects after the third day. Well, the tomb is the sacrum. It's right at the bottom of your spinal cord and and that's where the pump is. That the sacrum is the pump. And it's the only part of your body
well,
that
a
has
lot of the
five.
lores, a
It
lot of the
has
lores, I don't mean to cut you off, but I didn't want to forget what I was going to say because it's sinking. You're sinking with me big time now. Is he actually descended into hell for 3 days? Now think about it. The hell, the sacrum, the lower chakra, the red chakra, and then the ascension and the resurrection through the chakras into enlightenment.
exactly. And those are the seven seals of Revelation, the seven seals. When you open up the first seal, when you go read them, the story of the seven seals, you read it back, you freaking understand what they are. They're literally the chakra points. So that's explaining the journey that you're going through each chakra point until you get to the top, which would be the same thing as Dante's Inferno or and many other. I think it would be even the basis of our games, where we have to go through different levels before we reach the boss, and then when we reach the boss, we have to beat the boss to win the game. Well, I think that's based upon our reality. Jesus said, Jesus said this, okay? In the Bible, it says, leave the dead bury their dead. So what that means is, in really simple terms, let the stupid people stay with the stupid people. Okay. So in other words, stupid doesn't mean like you're a retard or you're or something, or you're lacking of stupid in the Bible. What stupid means is stupid is literally sin. Okay. And sin, if you break it down and you look at the term of what it means to miss the mark. Okay. So if you're missing the mark, dude, all right, and you're not on par, then you're completely aside from the point of what all of this is all about. You know, there's a
And to
reason
expand
for
on
these.
that,
The reason for
and to
these is
expand,
for the. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, please.
you sure? Okay, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to cut you off, man, but I'm just thinking with you right now with this shit. You know what I mean? Because you're right. The sin is exactly what you're saying it is. And then the second part of that is to repent, which means to turn away from it. If you're doing the wrong thing, turn away from that so you can do the right thing, you know? Whoever this figure
exactly.
Jesus or Yeshua was, he preached a gospel of repentance. It was one of the first things he said. He doesn't say, that you have to be perfect. He does say to be perfect, but he says to repent. It's very simple. It's very
Yes, it is.
simple doctrine.
Yes. He didn't say worship me and go to church and praise me and louange me and put your hands up in the sky and pray to me and do this. No, that's not what he said, man. He said three really simple things, and if you go back and read, he tells people, he says fast, okay, he says meditate or pray, okay, but in other words, praying back then was probably meditation for him, or the translations were badly made or on purpose maybe, okay, and the other one was be to service to others. So these are the three focal
That's
points, the most important points that Jesus wanted us to do. And he says, do not worship me, but instead of worshiping me, do what I tell you to do. But nobody does what he tells him. Nobody, no, not one Christian religion does what Jesus says that they're supposed to do. He gives the literal instructions, three simple things, man, and nobody does it.
you mentioned fasting. Are you familiar with the links of the figure Yeshua and Jesus and John the Baptist and their links to the um, Jewish monastic group called the Essenes?
Okay, no, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, so um, you mentioned fasting, right? Did you said
Yes.
fasting with?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, the story is he fasted in the desert. Um, Damn, I
For
wish
40
Ian was
days.
on here because I know he did that. I know he did that cleanse. I don't know if he's listening or whatever, but I know he did the cleanse. Um, this stuff is all connected, but uh, right in the Bible, right in the canonical Gospels that are given to us, he fasted for 40 days in the desert. Right. There's a lot of lore and stories that this was an Essene ritual. So the stories of Christ go back to a certain conception of the figure Christ go to a particular um, idea that he was associated with, um, and this is a historically accurate group. It was a Jewish monastic group. There were monks. John the Baptist at the time of Jesus was basically their leader. He was the head of this sect of these Jewish monks, and they practiced very particular medical techniques of their time. Well, medical, probably not the better word would be health techniques of their time. These techniques can be found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which I believe, people say the Dead Sea Scrolls might not be legitimate, and who knows? I tend to think they are. I think the
It's
Dead Sea
so do
Scrolls
I.
were remnants found yeah, of hidden scriptures. If you study the Dead Sea Scrolls, they specifically lay down very accurate and uh, precise techniques of fasting and intestinal bowel cleansing using herbs of the earth and, believe it or not, water enema cleansing. These practices are in the scrolls of the Dead Sea Scrolls, all right, in certain gospels. It is thought that the figure Yeshua was a member of these Essene uh, practitioners. His association with John the Baptist, which is even presented to us in the canonical Bible, lends some credibility to that. This John the Baptist is a more accurate historical figure than Jesus is, and Jesus' association with John the Baptist is clear, at least in the Bible. So what's my point? We hear stories of Christ fasting in the desert for 40 days. After those 40 days, he achieved his Christhood, right? He passed his test with the evil one.
Yep.
We have these stories in the Dead Sea Scrolls of these fasting techniques, these techniques of cleansing and health. When we talk of the figure of Jesus, he cast out demons. Well, can the demon be the archetype of the parasite? We were talking about this the other night, now weren't we?
Yep. Yes, we were.
You see how it all comes together? So we have a system of health and treatment and fasting that I believe potentially that these individuals, Christ included, were aware of and practicing.
Exactly.
So
That's it. And in that 40 days of fasting, I think is the perfect way of let's say healing. Let's say you're sick or something, and you need to fast. Well, did you know that when you eat something, could it be anything? It takes up 50% of your body energy. All of your half of that energy goes into digesting your food. So if you fast and let's say you have like some kind of I don't know what it is. Let's say you have a cold. I'll give you an example. And you're fasting for like say let's say a week. Well, you're gonna destroy that cold because what your body's gonna end up doing in your immune system is gonna end up wanting to eat anything it can to get nutrients from. So it's gonna attack the bacteria or the virus or whatever it is.
the only thing people a lot of times people don't focus on is the bowel cleansing part of it. I know it's gross, I really do, but when you really look at it from a perspective of health, because Ian, you're dumping so many toxins, dude. Your blood was probably toxified for the first couple of days, probably didn't feel good. You know, a lot of it
Yeah,
would be the bowel cleansing clears those. You can drink things like bentonite clay, or psyllium husk, like a different things. But these are it's a bentonite's like a powder. That bentonite will bind the toxins, and then the psyllium husk is basically fiber. You could just even get Metamucil if you just want to go pretty simple, but um, just to help get with the cleansing, and then um, sometimes in an enema, just like a water enema, really helps. It just I know because I fasted, and when you start that first couple of days, like you said, once that detoxification process really kicks in, yeah, you can kind of feel really sick for a while. Um, but once
yeah,
you get past those
yeah.
first 3 days, it gets
When you do that fasting for 3 days, try and do it when your astrological sign is in the moon sign. So that means like you'll know because it always says it like it happens once a month where your sign is in the moon for 3 days. All right. So when that happens, that's the best time to fast, man. This is
Interesting.
this is one of the things
he's
I've learned
right. That's
through.
actually that's from Ayurvedic medicine. The other thing I was going to say is I found through my practices is using the seasons, right? Because think of it, man, there's a flow to everything, and the seasons have a signature that we can follow. And there's times of fasting, right? So you think early spring, or you fast right before harvest times, Ian. So I kind of think of it like that, dude. Like so that you're not in the middle of like January, and you're trying to fast for like a week. It's not really time for it. So I found there's a lot. There's an ebb and flow to the seasons, and you can almost use that in your practice.
That's that's extremely interesting, man. I can see that. So like when spring starts coming around is when you'd start fasting or something, or you talking about?
Well, you can associate it with the particular harvests, right? So when you're fasting, you oh, how I want to say this. So there's different methods, like you said, but what I found a great method is you almost transition into your fast, Ian, right? It's like, so you think of it as like you want to get to this goal of where maybe you're just drinking water at the end for like a couple of days, right? But leading up to that process, what you can do is each day you can transition one of your meals to like more of like maybe just raw vegetables or a little bit of fruit, right? More of these um, whole food, um, almost vegetable or vegetarian type of diet, right? And then you do that for a week, and then the next week you remove another meal, right? So now it's like two of these kind of things, whether it's a juice. Green juice is tremendous, right? And then obviously you go from there. And then you transition where you're just doing all vegetables and juices and stuff. And then you go to just juices, and then you go to pure water. But then you come out of it with that same gradual tendency that you came in. But you want to do that associated with the harvest. So if you're eating all these vegetables and all these green vegetables, well, you're going to want to do that at the time that these green vegetables and things are harvested, right? And then at the times around the harvest, like more in the dead of summer and in the dead of winter, that's when you're going to be eating more like meat, right? And you're going to have more of the meat and the hard, the rough kind of stuff, the more dense and bulky, more dense, nutritious things, right? And you think of it, like in the winter time, you would be eating meat. You look at the blood moon and the falls. These things were known throughout the world. They just hid all this stuff from us. But anyway, I don't want to get too far off the subject. So my point is, you can incorporate your fasting with the seasons, typically around your harvest seasons. All right. And then you could just as gradually as the seasons come and go, that's just as gradually as you can come in and out of your fast. You see what I'm saying?
That's dope, man. And you know, it's like almost like you create a frequency with it. You know what I mean? So I like that.
Ex-
I like that idea.
exactly. So you're getting into that
Yeah.
same now you're because you would actually be replicating your nutritional plan, so to speak, just as you would if you existed naturally, like if we existed, in a village or like on a farm, or even better, like in the forest, like native tribes all around the world. Their diet throughout the year is dictated by the seasons, right? What is our diet dictated by? It's just the same all year. They've disconnected us from our essence, right? So now we have to think of it as I'm fasting, as it's this procedure or this hill we have to climb. But in reality, if we were just living as normal humans, this would just be our natural existence. Resonance is the only process and mechanism that we can find in this world where you can have an increase in energy without any supplemental, I should say, you can have an increase in energy output without any further supplemental energy. All right. It's true resonance. I'll give an example. All right. Now, this is an example I always go to. All right. When you pluck a guitar string, it has a certain intensity. That energy, that acoustic energy, has a certain intensity. When you place that string over the body of the guitar, what happens? It increases that energy. You perceive it as louder. Well, you're perceiving the increase in energy. No other energy was put in. There was no other process, all right? It is true non-zero point energy, all right? When you look at resonance and electrical resonance, whether it's, again, if it's mechanical resonance, which acoustic would be, or electrical resonance, it's all resonance the same. You see a process where you have truly a process where the sum is greater than the whole of its parts. It's true G-salt theory in action, okay? Not theory, you could test it. Electrical resonance is what we're talking about here. So I'm using this to exemplify the process that you guys saw happening with that stream the other night. We had multiple individuals all tuned and resonating to a particular frequency, interacting with each other, demonstrating true electrical resonance, true energy increase, okay, and true synergy. That is what synergy actually is. All right. You can also find these same processes when you look at electrical resonance in things like Tesla coils, in things like all the things that we discuss with that higher level technology that involves electromagnetism. It's all about resonance. And humans can resonate just like anything else. We know that our body is electromagnetic. We can read the electromagnetic energy of our bodies. Just look at an EEG, which is an electroencephalogram, where they read the electrical energy of your brain waves. Look at EKG or an ECG is another way to put it. That's an echocardiogram where they're literally using electrodes and electrical receivers to measure the electrical energy of your body. It may be small, it's done in microvolts, but you're still measuring it. You can demonstrate it. The human body is electrical. Okay? We are resonating electrical units that when we get together, we bring our energy and we increase our energy, all right, synchronistically and synergistically. Okay? So now look at the divide and conquer tactics that the system uses to divide us, to bring us apart. They engineer racism, they engineered divide, they tore the family apart, the nuclear family, they tore them apart. Okay? They send mom and dad to work and the kids to school and grandma and grandpa to the old age home. Okay? They keep us 6 feet apart with a bullshit thing that we had to go through for the last 2 years. Well, what does that do? It decreases our resonance and our energy as mankind. And these are the processes that these people deploy on us.
There's something with the Mandela effect and the people that see it too. There's some like huge connection here. I'm just wanting to, I've been saying it, but I just don't know what it is. But there's something huge with
So,
this,
Ian,
Yeah.
there is something. Here's how I look at it. And this is just the way I look at it because I think about this shit all the time. The Mandela effect is on my mind a lot. And it could be a lot of things. We could be the ones that see it, right? It could be just we're the ones that see it. But here's how I look at it more and more now, Ian and OTW. Um, it's not so much that we're the ones that see it, but we're the ones with the spiritual honesty and courage to accept it. That's what I think is our commonality. We're the ones that can accept such a huge monumental concept of a fluid reality. Because these are people, they're all seeing this damn Mandela effect, right? I always say this, everybody's Mandela affected. You can't deny it. If you lock 100 people in a grocery store, you got everybody from grandmas to little kids, and you ask them certain questions, and they're most 95% of them are going to give you the same wrong answer. You know, everybody's Mandela affected. Maybe we're just the ones, again, with the spiritual and intellectual honesty to admit it to ourselves. Because once you admit it to yourself, you have a decision to make. You have a decision to make with your life and who you are, right? Because if you embrace it, well, you become one of us. You know, you become someone who becomes identified by the system as something to be rejected because we no longer serve this system. We break their spell, right? Now, if you're a person and you're invested in this world, if you're invested, whether it's career or whatever it is, whatever invests you to the world or to the system in particular, if you're that person and you see a significant Mandela effect and you know what your memory was, you have a decision to make. And I always say it like this. You could lie to the world. That's one thing. But if you're lying to yourself, that's insanity. I'll put it like this. I choose to believe, I'm using that word specifically, that everyone has sovereignty, divinity, and autonomy. I choose to believe that. But again, I recognize that that's a belief and that might not be exactly true. When you look at some of the parables in the Bible, like the wheat and the tares, and it talks about how at the harvest time is when you separate the wheat from the tares. Well, what's the implication there? The implication would be the wheat would be the souls that are going to graduate from here, the souls that enter the kingdom, whatever that is. And the tares, well, that'd be the other ones, right? Here's my point. The tare is basically like a weed. So the parable says, there was a field, and at some point somebody came in at the night and they threw these basically weed seeds into the fields, and that's the tares. And they asked basically the gardener, what do we do? Do we tear the weeds up? And the gardener said, no, because if you tear the weeds up, you're going to destroy your crop. You must let them grow together. And at the harvest, you separate them. Okay? Here's my point. A blade of wheat was always going to be a blade of wheat based on its seed. That is a wheat seed. And the tare, the weed, was always going to be a weed because it's a weed seed. The wheat had no choice. It was always a wheat, and the tare was always a tare. There was no choice there. Is that indeed our reality, where we are the wheat? We are, for lack of a better term, in some way elected, and the others are not? Okay. I choose not to believe that. I choose to believe that we all have the choice, but that doesn't necessarily mean that my belief is reality.
I know people around me who are literally there. And I'm not saying this in a pretentious way, but they'll never find the way. They will never find enlightenment. They will always stay stuck in this paradigm and this place and this way of thinking and the system and just to literally try to plant seeds and try to have break them free because you love them and you want them to be, you know to see the truth and stuff. But no, man, it's like, no, never. They will never see it, and they even rebuke you and they stop talking to you. I've had friends that I've been friends with for 30 years, and I don't talk to them anymore because they think that I'm so high and mighty that I'm too good for them. And now no, I've been through so kinds of different reactions and different types of things. I've lost friends, I've lost family, maybe I've through all of this process. And it's been a fucked up journey on the way. And I'm not complaining, I'm just saying it's pretty intense. So and now after 5 years, we're finally getting down to the nitty gritty of it all.
Yeah, no, I hear that, but so yeah, I'm with that. I see what you mean. So we should,
Here's what I was going to say
yeah,
is
go
that
ahead.
I, I was going to say, like, the fact that we're all out here, you know, representing ourselves the way that we do to the world, speaking the truth as we see it. I think the fact that we're all doing that lends credence to the idea that we believe that these NPCs, quote unquote, can wake up, because I think if we really, I'll speak for myself, because I wrestle with these two opposing concepts all the time. And I always say to
Same
myself,
here.
the fact that I'm out here, the fact that I'm out here representing myself like this, how you guys are doing it, and we put our faces out there to the world, and we say the things that we say, knowing that, um, what the system, how the system treats and handles people like us. We do it anyway, and I think that shows credence to the idea that we want to save these people, and we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't think they could be saved, right? And you know and I look at it like this. I choose to believe that everybody has sovereignty, has free will and choice, and they could choose, and they could they can make a choice. But I can at least realize that that's a belief, you know. But
Yeah.
sometimes, you guys, I mean, really, when I look at this world about anything, I'm seeing more and more that it comes down to belief, really. And it could even just be a belief in yourself. And it's like Ian was saying with the Mandela effect. It's the ultimate test of, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in what your memories are, your life? That's yours. You experienced it. But then we have this reality that's presenting us with something else. It's the ultimate test of sovereignty, you know? It's the ultimate test of sovereignty. If we're to wear a crown of sovereignty, right, represented by the crown chakra, you can see it in the archetype of the Christ figure with the crown. You can see it in all those type of things. What's the point? If we're going to wear a crown of majesty, kings wear crowns. If we have a crown, we are kings. We are sovereign. We are sovereign being. I choose to believe that everybody has that, you know, because I wouldn't want to live in a world where it was otherwise. That's why I believe it, because I wouldn't want to live in a world that was otherwise, because it'd be pointless.
I was always the class clown. I was always the kid that was trying to get attention. I was always the troublemaker, the one who was like disrupting the order in the class. I was literally a pest, and I remember it because I was always at the principal's office all the time, and they even send me to
Well, you
like
know,
social worker.
they diagnose these kids. They diagnose these kids with ADD, ADHD. They pathologize the natural function of a child, hit them with all these pharmaceuticals. It's criminal what is happening.
Yeah,
It's
they wanted to
criminal.
give me
Yeah.
Ritalin, Ritalin in French. That's what it's
This is
like
criminal. Guys, these are crimes. These are crimes against humanity. You know, we're talking
absolutely.
about here. You know, it's so normal for us. It's so we're so conditioned to this world that they've created that we overlook the simple fact every single day that there has been engineered, purposeful, premeditated throughout the centuries, or as long as we can know, okay, that these people have been perpetrating these crimes against humanity, and they're doing it to this day. All right. And we're expected to stand by and do nothing. That time's over. That
Hey,
time's
man,
over.
thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for saying that, man. That's how I feel, man. That's
That
always in the
time's
back of my
over.
mind. Yeah, I'm with
Because,
you on
guys,
that,
this
bro.
system is always going to want to pull us back into it. Even us, we're not immune from it. This system is always going to want to put, this world is always going to want to pull us back into it.
Well,
It'll
we
just,
have to.
these people act as agents of the system and agents of the world. They're constantly going to try to get us to pull into it. And we have to remember these things.
Yeah,
We
but
have
Zetetic.
to remember that these are cosmic criminals.
Yes, this is absolutely
Go
right.
ahead.
But Zetetic, the focal point there, okay, of what you just said was, just you want to repeat that real quickly, Z?
Is that, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hello.
I'm just saying that no, what I was just saying is that these we're our world is basically we're living in the middle of um, a group of people who conspired, or they might be some kind of bloodline. Who knows who they are? Who really cares who they are? But what we know is they've been committing atrocities against nature to mankind for as long as we can remember. That time is over. At least for me, it is, guys. I don't know about you or anybody listening to this. Whoever's out there, I don't know. Whoever's listening to this.
Yep.
Is this the world that you want to live in? Do you want to be in this world like that? Is that how you want to
Okay.
live? And the thing
That's what
is,
I
here's the
wanted to
thing
come at.
is, here's the thing is, here's the thing is, if you're ignorant, if you are ignorant, okay, you have no accountability. But once you know, you are accountable
That is true.
to yourself. You are accountable to yourself. Okay. The kingdom is within. All right. Because I can tell you you're accountable to God. And that's just a story because we don't even know if God exists really. But we know that we exist. So I'm telling you, you are accountable to yourself. All right. That's just
Oh
where I
yeah.
am, guys. I'm just telling you where I am. I'm just telling you where I am. So you guys really know who I am
Hey,
and
I'm
why
right
I
there
do
with
what
you,
I
bro.
do and say the things that I say. Go
I
ahead,
have to
guys.
agree with you, man. 100%. You know,
1000%.
yeah, that's it.
That's why I sometimes, get deep and passionate because I come from that view as well, and I can't help myself.
Well, there is one
Because
thing
Ian,
though that
once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's exactly what it is. You can choose to
Yeah.
blind yourself. You can try to lie to yourself. And that's what happens. That's what psychosis is. Because the system will get you to split. It'll get you into a particular psychosis where you do a psychological and spiritual split. And then you act as the persona. So the system will build a persona. The system will build an identity that you play into, no matter what it is. And it will get you to embody the persona that it creates for you, bringing you out of your consciousness, your divinity, and allowing them to fill it and control every single aspect of your life. And you don't even know what's happening to you.
you can know that you're in the system and not be of it though. Because that's what we are, because look, me and you, we're all of us right now are using computers and electricity and everything. So this is necessarily a part of the system. Am I wrong? I mean, so if you're looking at it
Well, the Christ
from a
being said, be the
no,
Christ
just like
being
say,
said, be in the world, but not of it.
but
So
not
you're
of it.
right.
Yes,
I mean, you're right.
yes.
Exactly what you're saying is matches that. Be in the world, but not of the world. These were the words of the figure, Christ or Yeshua, whoever that person was. We don't even know if he existed. But what do the words say to you? It doesn't matter if it's a Bible or a fucking fortune cookie. What do the words say to you? That's all that
Mm,
matters. We don't have to talk about religion or history or who existed or when it existed. We exist as sovereign beings in this world, as critical thinkers with divinity. When we're presented with information, we have divinity to incorporate that information and make decisions. And decisions invoke the concept of choice and autonomy and free will. Okay? That is all you need to know. You don't need to know anything more than that. If you encounter information, how do you receive that information energetically? So if the words speak to you, that's all that matters. So when I hear words that say be in the world but not of the world, that speaks to me on a level and that nothing even touches. It goes to a level of me that has a place where nothing else can go when I hear those words. And that's all that matters. I don't care who said them. These
Bro.
people who don't see what we see, we have to remember their world. We have to remember the mindset that they're in, that these people, they're in a mindset, where they've had this system completely abuse them from day one. It's the same thing they did to us. And, these are the things I keep prominent lately, because when I'm saying, why am I out here doing it? Like, why am I on here doing this? I have to keep reminding myself, about these people who are so deceived. They need leaders. Guys, we're the leaders. We really are. I mean, look at you guys. Like Ian, look at you, dude. Like, look at what you have. Um, look how what you have manifested, dude, in your life. And you can see that's potential. You can see the potentiality. You can feel this energy, and you know where it can grow, dude. I can see that in you. I can see that. You manifested that. You know, and we're the leaders. We're the ones speaking. We don't. There's we never know who we're reaching. You don't know. We speak. We create the vibration. We put the ripple out there. If somebody else is tuned to that same frequency, they'll receive it. Will receive it. It will resonate with them energetically. We just have to speak it and be it.